This is the third screencast for Investigation 12A and 12B over hurricanes. And I'm currently looking at question number 13, but I have on the screen so that you can see that's figure 3 because question 13 begins to deal with figure 3. So 13 says, jumping forward 2 days to 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Friday, the 26th of August, 2005, figure 3 shows the storm positioned in the Gulf of Mexico. Plot the Friday position of the circulation center in figure 3 on the figure 2 map. Did the Friday position fall within a latitude or longitude degree of the forecast track from Wednesday? Yes or no? Okay, so let me help you guys with that. Hang on. Okay, so we're going to go back and look at figure 2. And if you look carefully, here is where they predicted that the center of circulation was going to be on 2 p.m. Friday. Remember, they were predicting that as of this this figure, which they made Wednesday at 5 p.m. Okay, so that's where they thought it was going to be as of Wednesday. But where was the center of circulation actually? It was actually way down here. Okay? So they thought that it would be just south of Lake Okeechobee, which is up here, okay? But it wound up really the center of circulation by Friday was here. So that is definitely more than a latitude and longitude degree off, okay? So your question is, did the Friday position fall within a latitude or longitude degree of the forecast track from Wednesday? And that's a definite no. It's definitely in a very different spot than what they thought it was going to be. So obviously there were some changes between the Wednesday forecast and what wound up actually happening when they made the Friday forecast. Okay, number 14. At 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Friday, the system was a what? Tropical depression, tropical storm, or hurricane. Once again, you have to look at the maximum sustained winds. Figure 3 shows advisory 14, and the maximum sustained winds as of this advisory were 100 miles per hour. So use your Saffir-Simpson scale and figure out whether it's a tropical depression, a tropical storm, or a hurricane, and circle the appropriate answer. Also, number 15, Table 2 shows the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. You also have it in a slideshow. The category of hurricane strength is related to the damage potential and the measured sustained 1-minute wind speeds in miles per hour. At the figure 3 advisory time, Katrina was a category what hurricane? Well, so 15 kind of gives away the answer to 14, but hopefully you already figured out what 14 was. Okay, so you need to look at your Saffir-Simpson wind scale. You have maximum sustained winds of 100 miles per hour, and so you need to circle. Does that make it a category 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 hurricane? Okay, so here is the table that they were referring to, the Saffir-Simpson wind scale, and you can look at the wind speeds in miles per hour and determine what category hurricane Katrina was at the time of this advisory. Okay, we're also going to go ahead and answer 16 and 17. The figure 3 forecast track issued at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Friday, the 26th of August, projected Katrina to make landfall along the Gulf of Mexico coast near the Mississippi-Alabama border during the afternoon of what? Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday? Well, let's look. It predicted that it was going to make landfall along the Mississippi-Alabama border at about 2 p.m. Does that say 2 or 1? It's hard to see. But anyway, on Monday. Okay? So they predicted it to make landfall in the afternoon on Monday. Number 17, consider on figure 3 the two locations. Mobile Bay, Alabama. It's got a coastal indentation to the right of the final plotted H dot. And New Orleans, Louisiana, which is to the left of the predicted landfall position and south of the irregular Lake Pontchartrain oval. Okay, so let me walk you through where they're talking about. Just hang on. Okay, this right here that little indentation, that's Mobile Bay, okay? And this right here, that's Lake Pontchartrain, and New Orleans sits over here, okay? Based on the forecast track, one would expect the higher storm surge from the major landfalling hurricane to occur where? In Mobile or in the New Orleans area, based on this hurricane track. And remember, we go back and we looked at that simulation, and we know that hurricanes turn counterclockwise. And so if you have a counterclockwise motion, it's going to be this side of the storm that's getting the brunt, because the rain bands that are coming in and hitting this side are coming from over the water. The rain bands that are hitting on this side have already gone over the land and are coming back around. Okay, so your storm surge is going to be more severe on that eastern side, which would be Mobile. Okay, now this is not actually where the hurricane winds up hitting, but that's their best projected path, as far as this advisory was concerned on Friday. Okay, so a little bit more information about Hurricane Katrina. I'm now reading under question 17. Hurricane Katrina continued intensifying to a Category 5 storm with winds of 173 miles per hour before finally weakening to a strong Category 3 at landfall near the Louisiana-Mississippi border. The massive size of the storm caused devastating storm surges from Louisiana to the Florida Panhandle, with a maximum storm surge of 27.8 feet at Pass Christian in Mississippi. Ironically, Category 5 Hurricane Camille in 1969 had a maximum surge of about 32 feet, also near Pass Christian. Think back to the simulation that we looked at with Galveston, and how fast that entire, and how fast that entire island disappears when we look at storm surge. If you had a storm surge of 27.8 feet in Galveston, the whole island would be completely underwater. So that's a pretty big deal. Okay, so next paragraph. Of course, a major part of the Katrina story was the death and devastation in New Orleans. Due to Katrina's large size, winds prior to landfall caused water from Lake Pontchartrain to slosh over seawalls and canal banks, undermining and cutting levees. Levees are kind of like dams, and flooding the city. About 80% of the city flooded, in some places up to 20 feet deep. The last of the water was not removed until 43 days later. The direct and indirect death toll from Katrina was estimated near 2,000, mostly in New Orleans. The total cost was estimated at $81 billion, making Katrina the nation's most costly hurricane ever.